Hiya, it's Amanda here from Lolli Lulu Crafts, and finally I am so excited to be able to share with you Lolli's Lodge, the big surprise that I've been hiding from you for nearly a year now. It's taken that long to get everything organised, and to be honest I'm still working on a lot of stuff with it, but I'm so excited to finally be able to share it with you. So this is the finished lodge. There's Daisy. She absolutely loves coming out here, and as you can see, it's absolutely gorgeous. I love it. It's so cute. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to chat away to you about everything, and we're going to do the process of just showing you some photographs of how it kind of got built, etc. And then later the main part of the video is actual video for you. But we're going to start off with the kind of before. So this is the kind of mess that I just was in because I really didn't have anywhere to put my craft stuff. The cupboards were full and it was just spilling over everywhere, all over the floor, all over the surfaces, as you can see there, even notes on the walls. It was just insane. So when you would see me crafting, I would actually have to put up this little craft table that I had, a little mobile table. I'd put it up, I'd sit on a little chair and I would set up all the lights, the camera. It would take like forever, and then I couldn't get out, so if I'd forgotten anything that I needed, I'd have to call someone because it was a nightmare to try and get out of the little space. So it all looked really nice and neat and tidy when I was working, but it really was awful. So this is our back garden after they've started to do the base. So we don't normally have plants right in the middle of the lawn, and this is the base that they need to put down for the lodge to sit on, and it's just a concrete base and you've got the wood around the edges there. So as I said, what I'm going to do, and that's the lodge out the front. It just came like that, a big flat pack. It was kind of like amazing to me that it came like that. But anyway, it actually didn't take too long to construct. Literally I got up, saw the flat pack, took a picture and thought, all right, I've got a few minutes and I'll do this, that and the other. And before I could blink, they'd already put half of it up, and I didn't even really get the first shots, which was amusing to me that they were really quite fast. I think it took 2 days in total for the whole thing to be completed. I mean the actual construction, not the actual kind of painting and all of that kind of stuff. Next, they got up on the roof. They literally just got up on the ladder and stood on the roof and started putting the roof tiles on, and they were literally tiles rather than they were like soft tiles, but they were tiles as opposed to like a whole kind of roll of like bitumen or whatever they call it, that was going across the top. So that made it look really cute, and there it is finished before the painting and everything was done. And also there were bars to go on the window, and there was the inside. It looks really weird seeing it now when it's not sort of painted or anything like that, but it was a quick snap through the window. Then they started painting. You see there's a little swatch on the side there. That was the original colour. I thought it looked really nice in the swatches, but when they put a piece on the side I was like, oh, that's really bad. So we quickly swapped it over to the colour that it is now, and it was really what I thought that one was going to be, and it was a lot softer, that lovely sagey green. So that's coat 1. You'll notice here that there isn't a window on that end there, and later on we actually decided that it really did need that extra window. We thought it might be a complicated thing to do. Sorry, that's the paint done on the second coat and everything all done there, and there's the extra window. It took them 20 minutes, I'm not joking, 20 minutes, cut a hole with a saw, shoved the frame in, and it was done. It was amazing. And there you can see my dad's now working on this, and he's put the bars on the window. It came with these bars, and to make it like a Georgian look, so he's put those on the window and now onto the doors, and he's just painting those up. And originally I was thinking for the inside I would go for like and there's it finished with the bars on and everything. That looks really cute. And on the inside, as I say, originally I was thinking I wanted to go for like the aqua tones that I use on my website, but in the end I decided to go for the antique cream colour because I just felt that there'd be so much colour with the stuff that we put in, like all the craft stuff, that it would just look much fresher. And also I did think that aqua would kind of clash with the outside, so I thought, no, let's go for neutral. and then it kind of matches the frames exactly. We've got the same paint as the outside, so it also has that protective quality to it. I persuaded my dad to paint the beams at the top in black so that it looked like a little cottage, and I think that looks so effective. And we obviously had an electrician come out and wire that all up. You can see the light at the moment, it's just a simple light, but I think that beams effect looks so nice. And then I had the carpet done, and we had this lovely bungee carpet, but it's in this sort of black sort of fleck. We had this before in my mum's salon, and it looked so nice, or it was something very similar, and I really like it. It gives a really nice sort of depth to the room. And I managed to find a mat, bizarrely, that matched perfectly for the door. You would hardly know it's even there. It looks like the carpet, but it's obviously much harder than the carpet. And Daisy just loves, as I said, the lodge, and she loves sitting now the carpet's on as well because it's so soft. And the great thing about it is, although it's black, because it's kind of got this fleck going on, it doesn't show any of the little bits and pieces that drop, or at least not so much anyway. And then here's my light. This started out as a very simple little light, and I actually added quite a lot to that, but I'll talk about that a bit later in the main part of the overview. And then you'll see there I added, or I didn't, I say I with all of this, but actually mostly all of this now really was my dad with the construction. So we added like a little hook there to make sure the doors didn't fly closed and open and bash into the glass of the window. So here we're starting the construction on the inside, and this really is a la IKEA all the way through pretty much. You'll see there on the left hand side one of the shelves has not gone in. That's because that's where the electric box is, but that was not a problem. And actually that actually slightly changed. You've got here 4 2 4. I actually changed that middle one. We took that apart and put it into a 4 1 4 sort of order, so that middle one was a single row, and that gave me space at the end. You'll see now I've got space at the end for that rack, and also that electrical box didn't interfere with the spacing on the racks. You can just see behind that rack there, the metal rack, you can just see that electrical box behind, and it just sat there fine, and it wasn't meaning I lost a shelf. So that's a close-up of the rack. It was a brilliant rack actually. It's one of those paper racks that they sell that you have in shops and things, and again I'll put all the links up as best I can for all of this. Oh, I say again, but actually that's what I said later. It's a bit confusing because this bit I'm recording after I recorded the kind of walkabout overview of the craft room, so I'm getting muddled of what I said when. And Daisy's making herself at home again. This is my craft desk. It's sort of almost, and that's my computer desk. So I've got 2 desks in here. One's shorter. This is just like a normal length desk, but my craft desk is probably 6 to 8 foot long, I would say. So it's really nice to have that length of craft desk and space, and that there is the computer desk, and you can see the lovely little chair. Oh, and look at that little face, isn't it cute? So I've got 2 of those black chairs. I love it with the mesh behind. It kind of stops it being too solid and kind of invasive. Then we got these great blinds from IKEA, believe it or not, and they're so brilliant. They're like honeycomb, they call them, and they're great. You can see there the side of it, and it stops the heat coming in the summer. The lodge is significantly cooler when you have those down, and you come into it and the sun's been blazing and you're like boiling outside, and you come in the lodge and it's like significantly cooler. And the opposite in the winter, it keeps it warm, so it's really great. Then I've got this little trolley which I loved in the turquoise, and that was from IKEA. And also I managed to find these lamps, 2 of these little desk lamps, which were not from IKEA, believe it or not, but it matched perfectly. You would think it would be from the same store, but it wasn't at all. And so we grabbed a couple of those. We just happened to see them when we were looking for something else. I think it was B&Q. If you're in the UK, you'll know that store. And then you'll see on the end of that cubbies, as I call it, unit there, that there's some drawers. You can buy these drawer units that sit exactly into each little cubby. Now I had only got 3 in at that point, but there is going to be like a whole set of 4 right down to the floor. I also got my dad to split, that's the single unit there, and I got him to split each cubby into 2 with a shelf, because I had something that I wanted to specifically put in there. And then on the top I got these little, they were actually sort of units that went on top of a desk to put stuff on. And then finally, just to show you, here is a rail that was actually for like plants and stuff, or for in a kitchen to hang things on, and I just put that at the end of my craft desk, both ends, to hang bits and pieces off. Again, you'll see more of that in the main section, the actual video section of this film, showing the overview of the lodge. And this was the first bits that actually went in, and you'll see my little carousel there. And then there's a shelf above that craft desk. It actually ended up that I put a second one on there as well. Again, I say I rather broadly. And then finally, I think the last sort of element to be added was this chair. I really love these chairs, actually. They're not that expensive at all, and they just look, and they're so comfortable, I should say. And then the very final touch was these fairy lights that I popped around, and you get a little bit of a view of how it ended up as well. Then on the outside we added a little a sensitive light, so when you walk up to it, it would go on, and I love the lantern look of that. And there it is on, and you can just see in the light there the little plant boxes, which are going to get put plants in, little window boxes, and they're actually the same. You can just see now we're walking up to it, you can see they're the same rail as I've put on the end of my craft desk. So you may have noticed we're now on actual film rather than photographs, and you can see that poor sad plant down the side there. We had a beautiful plant, and we had to move some of them obviously because there were plants in the corner there. Unfortunately that one just didn't make it, so that was a bit sad. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed taking a look at the actual construction process. Now we're just going to have a peek around with the actual camera. Now, just to say, this sign here was a gift from a friend of mine, Jo. Thank you very much. I absolutely love it. And she got that organised and made for me, and I absolutely think it's perfect, and I was so excited to put it on the lodge. So here you can see the finished lodge with the doors open and the hanging baskets on, which you hadn't seen in the photographs, and you can see how the sun is on it. And literally, if it's sunny, the sun is in there all day, because you've got obviously the windows at the front there, and it comes all the way around, and then when it goes over, it comes in the side window, so you literally get sun all day long. And you can see that all the stuff is pretty much in there now. I took a long time, and I still have a couple of bits that I'm still finishing. I'm still finishing off my stamps and my dies, but everything else is in there. But in the process of putting it in there, I completely reorganized everything. I literally went through everything that I had and started it from scratch, and completely came up with a new system for organizational storage for it. And that's what I'm going to share with you. I'm going to literally do separate videos showing you specific storage solutions that I've done, and on the back of each of those videos I will show you the sort of crafty items that it's storing, so that if you want to have a look at some of the bits that I've got, you'll get to see that as well. But if you're only interested in the storage part, you can stop at that halfway point. So as you can see, it's quite hard to film when the sun is out, but you've sort of got that lovely rack. You can see that I've now filled it up with card, and it looks so nice with that card on there. And my computer, you can see, is on the desk, and little Daisy's sitting in the front there. She just loves being out here. She really enjoys it. As soon as she hears the keys to the lodge, she's literally running across to the back door and then across the lawn to wait. She always tries to beat me to see if she can get there before me. She seems to forget she's an old lady now, and she's not supposed to be running around like a lunatic. Oh, there we go, have a shake. No, I'm not an old lady, she says. So that is the lodge finished. I'm going to now take you for a look inside in a bit more detail. So for that we will have a live voice as opposed to this voiceover that we're doing now. And I'm just so excited to finally share it with you. It's taken me so much longer than I expected because I really did have a massive clear out first of all, and then secondly I just completely reorganized everything. I started from scratch, and so it's just taken a long time, and I've still got a few bits and pieces to do, to be honest, but I mean everything is in here insofar as, you know, I've got some stamps in here, but I've still got a few to sort. I've got pretty much all my dies in here, but again I've still got a few that just need finishing off, but the actual bits are in here to show you, and there's enough there to show you so you can see what it's like. So I hope you're going to enjoy this tour, and let's get going. So the room is really hard. The lodge, as you saw, is a completely independent separate building, and it's very hard to get the perspective in here for you. It's actually a lot bigger than the camera is sort of giving you to believe. If you look, for example, this desk just there, which is the desk that I use for crafting, that's over 6 foot long. You can see that's like a normal office chair, and you can see my Cricut machines there, so you can get some idea of perspective. So starting, as it were, I'm at the doors, so the doors are just this bit here. There you go, there's doors, and so then that's where I would come in, and then there's the 2 windows, and then there's a side window as well. So I've got a trolley down there, which I'll show you in a minute. So then that's the desk that I use for my craft desk. Now that's got a little gap each side of that, which I'll show you down. There's some bits and pieces on the end of those. So I've got some shelves above there with some bits and pieces on, and again I'll get into that in more detail. Then we've got all these cubbies, so you can see each one of those cubbies, the actual whole part is about 12 inches, no, about 13 inches square, so you can get some idea. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 across, and then a gap at the end for a stand as well. So you've got all those cubbies with full of things, which I put those buckets, as I call them, inside, although there's a few obviously that haven't got those, but I just think that's really helpful because you can kind of, if you want to, you can just sort of throw things in and it looks nice and tidy, and yet it might not be quite so tidy inside. Although I've tried to be quite organised, I didn't really want to go down that route again. Then on the top I've got some twirly clip it up racks, and then I've got some shelving units again from IKEA, and then in the end I've got my stamping up stamp racks, and then I've got a rack there at the end with paper, and then just at the end here, which is hard to see, and I will pull back and show you it a bit better in a minute, but this is my working desk, my computer desk to do all my editing and stuff on. Okay, so there's a little Daisy May. Daisy! Hey, say hello. There's a good girl. And I've just got a heater there at the end of the desk. I actually tuck that away when I'm not using it, so that's just got a little home, but while I'm working I just pop it there because Daisy likes sitting next to it, as you can see. Okay, so we're going to start off with the trolley, and with some of the areas I'm going to come back to and go into in more detail because I want to do separate videos on kind of storage solutions. So we'll show you, I'll tell you what's in those particular things, but we'll come back and go into more detail. But with regards to my little trolley here, that's not an issue because this is just kind of like the things that I want to use all the time. Okay, so this bottom part of the trolley has got all my different die cutting machines plates in, and then at the back I've got some more plates and also a trimmer, one of the bigger trimmers, so that's all there, and obviously my scoreboard. And then I've also got the quick release dye paper there, which to be honest I don't use that often, but it's there. And there's the dog bowl for her water. And then in the second tray I've got some little spoons, which are miles too many to be honest, but these are what I use for things like my powders, you know, my embossing powders, etc. But it came in a massive pack for not very much. And I've got this little holder to put my wipes in. So I've got my baby wipes in there, just a couple of packs. I've got my Xyron machine and then the little one. And then at the back here I've got a Martha Stewart little pot that is full of my paintbrushes and also the water brushes, etc. So that's all in there. And then in the top part of the trolley we've got my fan, because when it's the summer it gets quite hot in here. Then I've got this cute little heart-shaped basket which I've just popped into the corner here, and this has got all my glues and adhesives, tapes, etc. in there. And then behind that I've got my corner chompers, 2 different ones, and then behind those I've got some of those tearing rulers. And then just down here is my ribbon bow maker thing. So that is my little trolley. So then on the craft desk I have got my lovely little Big Shot and my 2 crickets, and I've layered my crickets up onto this acrylic sort of stand, which I actually have made to size. I found this really amazing guy. It wasn't that expensive. I think it was about £50, which I know is not cheap, but compared to what you can buy these for when they're ready done, and this was sort of done to size, I thought that was pretty good. So I've got my really nice chair. I really like this chair, it's ever so comfortable, and I've got 2 of these. It works really well for me, and I like the fact that it's got the mesh at the back, so when you're sort of sitting there, it doesn't, when you've got them out like this, it doesn't look so heavy as it would do if it was sort of solid. And then on top of the desk, again, I'll go into a little bit more detail of that later, but I've got my pens and then my little twirly carousel that has all my bits and pieces in. On top of my little pen rack here, I've got my cute little, it was actually a plant holder, and I just thought it was so cute, and I put these little ink sponges that I use, the little eggs, and I thought that was really sweet, and I loved it with that in there. I just thought it was really cute. And then I've got my trimmer, it's actually a guillotine, and then down beside my cricket here I've got my trimmer, and underneath I've got more pens, some little bits and pieces, some odds and ends, sort of just like this to hold the sponges when they're wet, my fuse tool stuff, little files to sort of rough any edges if you want to distress something, cleaner, my talcum powder for when I'm doing embossing, etc. And then down beside that I've got a little stamp pad thing, and also a holder to put all my inks in. I say all my inks, these are like my inks pads that I use all the time, so my Memento, my VersaFine, archival ink, and obviously my Versamark, etc. So that's all there. I have got my carousel that I showed you sort of from a distance, and in here I've got things like a little bit of glitter glue, that because I use that colour all the time, and then the crystal Sig pens, pencil, other glue, my Wink of Stella, different bits and tools and punchy things, you know, hole punches and scissors, and this is all my Cricut pens. And then here is things like your glossy accents, more scissory things, blades, my school tool, ribbon maker, bow maker. I always call it ribbon maker. It doesn't make a ribbon, it makes a bow. Little heart punch, little roller that I use quite a lot for helping with gluing stuff down. And then of course my Cosmic Shimmer glue, my Life. I keep that one here because I use it all the time. And then I've got foam tape in there, a little tape runner in there. So although I've got the glues and stuff in that trolley, I sort of have some in this one as well. So this is my Cricut accessories, little eraser, you know, glue eraser thing. So if you make a mistake with your glue, you can get rid of it. Brilliant, that thing. And spare stuff for my trimmer. So then underneath on the end there, I've got my die cutting machine. So on the top here, I've got my Platinum, which is the one that's covered there. Then my Cuttlebug on the end. And then underneath I've got my Cricut Mini. And then at the very end is my little baby blue, and at the back what you can see is the wires, which actually are tidy. They're actually all in packets and labelled, so I know which wire belongs for what machine. So that's all there. Then this end underneath we've got my punches, which I will go into in more detail later on. And then underneath I've got my Cricut cartridges and also my little sewing machine there, which is my baby sewing machine, not like my proper sewing machine. This is one that I just use for crafting, so that I keep my good sewing machine just for sewing. So that's what's underneath that side. So at the end of the craft desk, kind of hard to show you, but we'll try. I've got this little bar which goes all the way across, and hanging off it I've got these two baskets, and in those two baskets I've got some cute little jars which have got bits and pieces in. And then underneath that on the floor, which is not ideal but you know, it's fine, it's sort of out the way there, is my silhouette machine. I don't use that as often as my Cricut, so I just popped it down there. It's also quite light, so it's got a cover, so it's nice and easy to move if I want to. And then down this end of my desk I've got another one of these bars. It's a little bit hard to see, it's a bit dark, but on here we've got these little hooks. You put the bar on, and then you can, before you put it on, you just slide these hooks on. And then on that I've got my fuse tool, my heat gun here, my glue gun, and then at the very end here, this is sits on the desk like that. You put your glues, spare glues in there if you want to, I don't bother, and then you sit your glue gun into this little bit there, and then any drips sort of fall onto the paint there, which will peel off because it's got like a plastic to it. And I just put a ribbon through and then hooked it up onto the hook there, and that's that. And then all the wires, I've got a plug socket that my dad attached down the bottom here onto the side, and those will then plug in. I leave them unplugged most of the time because things like heat guns and all these things are sort of things that if they should accidentally switch on could be dangerous, so I leave them unplugged until I need them. But then above my desk there I have got a couple of shelves. On that I've got some more of those baskets with the little jars in, and then above that I've got some pots, really all different sorts of embellishments. And then I got this little basket that hangs down from a shelf, and in that I've put my twine, and there's a box behind that with sort of the loose, sort of more smaller pots, sort of reels of twine and loose pieces, etc. And then also my tape stuff, can't think what it's called, binding. That's it. And so that's all in there. So then we come from the desk here round to the cubbies, and in the cubbies there's all these little buckets. They're full of different things like papers and kits and stuff, and I will go into that a little bit more detail in a separate video because that will be stuff I want to show you in a storage thing. And the same with the ribbons and things there, and also on the top there are stickers and stamps, etc. Then down here are my dies and things, and then further down I have papers and paints, etc. And again, I'm going to do that in a separate video because I think it will be helpful, so that if you're looking for a specific idea, it will be helpful. Then further along, I've got more cubbies with paper, etc. in, and then a load of drawers that have got glitters and all sorts. And again, I'm going to do a separate video for that one. And then in the corner here, I've got this amazing rack. This is my creative expressions card, and it's really, really helpful to have it like that. You can see what you've got. And then at the top here are my stamp pads, and then just all around my little cubbies here, I've just put a row of the little fairy lights, and that's so pretty at night. I'll put a picture up and show you what it looks like in the evening when the lights are on and just these little fairy lights. It's just so pretty. I really like that. And it's got a clear sort of wire, so although it doesn't show so much, and you've got these little hooks that just stick on, and you can't really see them that much, and you just hook it up, and there you have the wire. So if it was like a black wire, although it still shows, it would show a lot more if it was a black wire, so I really like that. And then I've also got my little chandelier, which is really slightly overstating it, to be honest, and it was even smaller when I got it, but I took a lot of these bottom bits there, I purchased those separately, and I hooked it on and made it a lot more, because it kind of stopped, if you can just see where those bigger sort of round balls are there, it stopped about there. So all that at the bottom I've added on. So then from that corner where we were with the paper, we come around and we have my actual working desk where I've got my Mac and where I sit and do all my editing, and then finally my lovely little pink chair for when I'm just sitting and chilling, just having a break, or just doing some sketches and working some stuff out. So that's what we have there. And then underneath my desk, it's a bit hard to show you, but so under the desk, I've got a wire hanging down because I've got the heater on, but I've got my little unit, sort of wood drawer unit here, which is to have my pencils in, but I haven't yet painted it or distressed it or anything, so because I thought I would wait and do that with you guys on camera, so that's fitting in perfectly there. But I've got here a basket that's got all my USB stuff in, so that basically all the things that connect to my computer via the USB connect via the extender, and then there's just one USB going up to my computer, so that gives me some spares if I need it on the computer as well. I've also got my hard drive there because I have that connected constantly for backups, and then underneath there is my printer, and that is connected as well because the plug just goes up the back. My dad made a little hole in the back of the shelf so all the plugs and stuff could go up the back there. And then on the top here we've got my actual computer and a little sort of letter holder sort of unit where I put my planner, a notebook, and another little notebook, and then in the drawer here's some pens and stuff. And then in the actual desk I've got a little tin here in the first drawer with some bits and pieces in, some pens and things, another bag with pens and another tin with pens and things. Then in the second drawer I've got my Chanel box that's got all my stickers in for my planner. The next drawer down is some more books, some empty notebooks, and also an address book and a sketchbook for my sketches for my cards. And then in the bottom drawer is where I put all the wires, my microphone for when I'm doing voiceovers, where the camera goes when it's not in use, and where my lights go when they're not in use. So that's all kept nice and tidy in there. There's little Daisy. And just a final thing to show you is that at the back of my computer, just to sort of make it look a little bit prettier and a little less sort of obvious, with the wires, etc. I've got these gorgeous silk flowers in this lovely little country sort of jug thing, tin it is. It's really nice. In my colour scheme here is the pink, the turquoise and the white and the black. Sort of quite unusual really, I think, but I think it works really well together, and I like the way I've kind of like taken the black of the boxes to match the black of the sort of magazine holders, for want of a better name for them, and that kind of all matches together. The one at the end there with the white at the top, it is my intent to put some pink on those so that they match the pink row. But anyway, so I hope you have enjoyed having a look around my little lodge with me, and as I said, I will go into a lot more detail with the separate videos showing you some of these elements, or most of these elements, in more detail so that you can pick and choose which one is of interest to you. So I hope you've enjoyed having a look around. I hope to see you again looking at some of the other videos as well. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye.
Smile I can't replace. You are